Hello, it is October 10th, 2018, and I decided that I would like to tie up a few of the loose ends regarding Infinity Procedure and the Infinity series. Now, this is a technology that in a short amount of time, again approximately 90 days, has come into wide-scale use and practice in the independent Scientology field. Many people are getting incredible gains and wins out of this procedure. And as such, I have now moved on to what I am loosely terming New Era Scientology processing. Very startling, very, very powerful technology that is producing results that have never been seen before and are completely unheard of. So on that note, I would just like to clear up some of the final points, and as I said previously, the loose ends regarding Infinity Procedure. Now, to sum that up, essentially what we're doing here is a bit of a throwback to, some of the technology that was found in the earlier days, approximately 52 to 1954. These were written about in books such as Fundamentals of Thought, which had to do with the cycle of creation and how you could take a person with a fixed or unwanted condition and being the lowest form or order of creativity. You could essentially tell a lie, for instance. If somebody had a bad or injured leg or foot, body part, or they had a particular fixed condition in their life, at one point, this was a wanted condition, or they had the original condition of a good leg, functioning foot, or a well-off body part, or they didn't have a fixed condition at the original point of inception or creation, or as isness, however you'd like to view that. And if you told lies, you would get off all of the alter isness, which means things that were interjected, to change those circumstances or those situations. In a very, very similar fashion, we are directly doing this with Infinity Procedure. And we're doing it via postulate. Because you query an individual as far as what they do not like, or they would like to have resolved or fixed, and it is always, point for point, always an unwanted condition or thing they do not want. If this were not the case, it would never even be a part of their awareness. If I'm a millionaire and I'm completely affluent and I have no issue with money, I'm not going to say, oh, well, I have an issue with money, because there exists. There's no pre-existing issue with money or finances. So therefore, it's not even a scope of my existence or awareness. You see, and that's the kicker with it. And that's the kicker, with this. And it's also the tricky thing about it. So you query any individual and they're going to offer up, if they even feel they need to handle something, that which they are sitting in MPT and do not want. And then utilizing Infinity Procedure and putting out postulates for others and ourselves, we're essentially postulating the opposite of that. So if we want to have an unwanted condition, for instance, difficulty with a spouse, we are going to always postulate an improved situation with our spouse, better communication with our spouse, fully resolving any issue with our spouse. You follow me? And this gradually, not just for ourselves, but it goes out into the universe and telepathically interacts with every other individual that we have either come into contact with at some point on the whole track, or we may not have even met yet. And we also put out these postulates for them. So this by and by increases their situation and circumstances. It also gets all the lies off of our own case, or what may be preventing us, or any case factors that may be preventing us, to achieving those goals in the mean and getting rid of that aberrated or unwanted condition. It is that simple. And there is a lot of little nuances and, phenomena associated with this. I could tell you how to run this one particular way. I've given the general outline of the procedure. But the keynote here of Infinity Procedure and all the technology that I'm releasing today is as we go farther and farther uptone, as we come along and we go farther and farther along the bridge, things become looser and looser. They begin breaking up. We begin auditing out more and more fixed conditions, engrams, unwanted conditions, implants in the physical universe, and all these variations of things that have been done to mankind over time. You know, the technology transforms, it transcends, and it then becomes an art form. And my point is that Infinity Procedure is not a rote procedure. There is no one singular or exact way to do this. I have given the general outline, and if you stick to that general outline and those commands, yes, you will obtain the end result, and you will obtain startling results in PCs and in people's lives. And another thing to mention is there is a lot of secondary phenomena. There is almost the opposite of the old key-out rule of, well, if somebody's in something, they're dramatizing something, they all of a sudden are ARC broke and they don't feel well. You know, a smart CS, or even an auditor, a lot of the times, will query and find out what happened approximately 72 to 48 hours previously to predispose or precipitate what is now occurring in present time. And the flip side of this seems to occur with Infinity Procedure, and where a PC will be handling something in session, and then it keys out, then, but tends to suck masses in 48 to 72 hours later, or any remaining masses, and since the root basis, or the foundation for which those things were taking place and manifesting, or being dramatized, or occurring in present time in that particular PC's life, are then being keyed out and manifesting 48 to 72 hours later. And what I mean by manifesting is that desired result is then taking place. And the longer this is run, the more of a culminating effect and ability you have on the PC and in their life, and as a matter of fact, the others that they interact with as well. So this, again, is the bleeding effect. This is the butterfly effect that is mentioned in the Infinity series bulletin, HCOBs and bulletins on that. Technical bulletins on that, excuse me. And there's all these secondary and tertiary, phenomena that do occur. So anyway, those are some of the loose ends, regarding this procedure. I cannot emphasize this enough that it is not a rote procedure. You just have to simply go out and apply it and use the whole body of the technology of Scientology and or Dianetics to apply in your application of this procedure. It is that simple. There's no just one-shot method of doing this. Let it become an art form. Treat it like an art form. If something is not working, tweak it a little bit. Because many, many times in auditing, the make or break point in a session can be as simple as the way you look at somebody, the way you turn your head, the pitch in which you give the next series of commands, whether or not you have a high degree of ARC for the person, and mainly, above all else, and this applies to not only all forms of auditing, but specifically these newer forms, is you absolutely have to. And the only thing you rotely need to do is audit them towards a result. Audit every single PC in front of you towards the result that you wish to obtain. And you know what? It'll happen. It's that simple. You do not audit anybody in front of you for monetary concerns. You do not audit somebody in front of you for your own ethical concerns, the way it may look, the status or the elevation you may obtain as a result. You audit them in front of you. If you're auditing them on Dianetics, if you're auditing them on NED, you audit them towards clear. If you're auditing them on the grades, you always audit them towards better communication. If you're auditing them on Infinity Procedure, you audit them towards greater and greater ability and the manifestation of that which they are postulating. It is that simple. And this is the point I will leave you with today. To wrap this up and sum it up, Infinity Procedure is not a rote procedure, and always audit towards a result. With that, ladies and gentlemen, you have an incredible day, and I will speak with you again soon.